Hello everyone, I am Tanjanika Lewis. Welcome back to my Authortube channel. Today I'll be doing the Authortube Newbie Tag for you. I have my phone here with the questions. I feel like it's going to be a long video, so let me go ahead and just dive right into this. So, question number 1, how did you find Authortube? Well, there was a point in time when I was really looking into writing a book, the processes of being published, whether to go traditional or self-published, which is something I didn't know anything about as far as like self-publishing. I didn't know anything about that. And I was really searching on what path should I take to make my author or the dreams of being an author come true. And I was just looking for advice. And I stumbled upon Authortube. Number 2, what genres do you write in? I would say new adult contemporary romance. I think that's a genre. And psychological thrillers. Those are the genres that I write in. Kind of contradictory, but it works. Trust. Number 3, what is your preferred writing tense? That's the first part. Present. Point of view. First person. Category of story. Children, young adult, etc. My favorite category of story is adult or young adult. My favorite point of view is first person. And my favorite writing tense is present tense. It's a little bit harder to push the story along. It doesn't go along as quickly as I would like, but I like the feeling of being inside the main character's head, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's usually what I do. Question number 4, are you a plotter, pantser, or planter? I used to be an avid pantser. When I first started out writing, I didn't know where my story was going. I didn't know what the characters were. I just had like a general premise of the story, and I just sat down and wrote. I found it really frustrating though. I couldn't keep the events. I couldn't keep the track of the events. I couldn't keep track of all the characters I had introduced, and then eventually I would get really frustrated and stop writing. Then I became the extreme opposite. I became a serious plotter, and I would plot out every single thing. But in doing that, I found out that I don't like it, because I don't like the rigorously sticking to my plot. I like having some room for my story to kind of develop as I write, because those of you that have written or that are writing, you know that sometimes ideas don't come to you until you start writing, until you're actually writing the story, and then you're like, oh, this would be great if this happened, or maybe this could happen. And I wasn't getting that freedom when I was plotting. So then I recently participated in Camp NaNoWriMo in July, which I'll be doing a video about that experience. And I plotted a little bit, but I knew I wanted some creative freedom in the story that I was writing. And so I planted for the first time, and now I am an avid planter. Number 5, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I am in the yet to be published category of my author career, but publishing is coming soon. Number 6, what publishing company, literary agent, and or publishing company are you represented by or use? Right now, none. If you're not yet published, which is me, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? My dream publishing house is Phoenix Hartley Publishing, which is actually my own publishing company, which I'll tell you guys about in another video. Number 7, what Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? My channel is a little bit of advice videos, a little bit of just the life of an author, some things that you may not have heard to expect, or some things that can happen that are just unexpected from the life of an author, because sometimes it seems like we'll hear somebody say, hey, I'm going to write a book. And then you don't hear from them. And then all of a sudden they pop back up and they're like, I wrote a book. And you're like, cool. And we don't see the in between. So you'll have lots of videos on how I get through all the in between stuff of my author journey, along with some advice videos, maybe some life hack videos. Yeah, stuff like that. That's what you can expect. Number 8, when did you start writing? I think I wrote my first story. It was a short story in middle school. I want to say I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and it was a darker story. It was about a young lady who had an abusive husband, and he was a drunk, and he got home one night and he was drunk and he beat her, and she waited until he passed out, and she tied him to the bed and beat him to death with a baseball bat. I actually wrote it in the back of my English subject journal, and my English teacher read it. Needless to say, she definitely scheduled a parent-teacher conference right after she read it. She had a conference with my mom, and I tried to explain to her that I had never experienced anything like that nobody I knew had ever experienced anything like that. It was just a story that like popped into my head, and she did not believe me, and she followed up with my parents, and she was really concerned, as she should have been, because, you know, 7th graders are not supposed to have that type of dark imagination, but it was probably sparked by something I seen on TV. But that's the first story that I remember writing. It was either in 7th or 8th grade. I want to say it was 7th grade. Number 9. What's the first story you ever wrote? I kind of just told you that story. Number 10. What authors have inspired your writing the most? I would say the author list is endless, but the ones that stick out the most to me are authors like R.L. Stine, because the Goosebump books, I think, is the first chapter book I ever read, like from beginning to end in elementary school. So R.L. Stine, Dan Brown, with his mixture of reality and fantasy. Who else? J.K. Rowling. She created a whole entire world with its own language. Like, how amazing is that? Who else? Carl Weber, E.L. Harris, just to name a few. Those people have influenced my writing a lot with their storytelling. Number 11. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you find time? Both. I usually try to schedule writing time in the morning because I have 2 small children. I have twin girls that are almost 3 years old. I try to schedule writing before I start my day with them or before I start my work day. Because I noticed that with working a full-time job and me being a mom and a wife, that sometimes writing gets muddled in if I try to leave it till later on in the day, and sometimes it gets done, sometimes it doesn't. But if I start my day with it, then it gets done. So I usually try to plan some time in the morning before I start my work day or my day with the girls, and then throughout the day, if I have some downtime, then I'll go ahead and grab my laptop and start writing. Number 12. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? Well, I type some of it, and some of it I handwrite, depending on where I'm at and if I'm able to get to my laptop. If I'm able to get to my laptop, then I'll type it, or get to a computer, then I'll type it. If not, then I'll grab like whatever piece of paper and pen I have, and I'll write down my idea right quick. Where do I write? I usually write in my car. Like, that's where I'll write in the morning, or I'll write in my chair in my room. Well, in our room, me and my husband's room. I'll write sitting down in that chair. Number 13. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of Authortube? having a community of just like-minded people and people that are farther along in the journey that can help with, you know, some of the questions I may have or some of the things that I face, and then the people that are just coming along in the journey, so that maybe they can learn from some of the things that I've done, they can learn from some of the mistakes that I'm sure I'm going to make, and then the people that are right there with me, just having a community of people that are striving to do the same thing that I'm trying to do. And that's it. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad as far as length in the video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you feel like you know me a little bit more. Look for my next video coming soon. That it'll be me reflecting on my first Camp NaNoWriMo, and I hope to see you in the comments. If you have any questions or concerns, or you just want to love on me because I'm a newbie, you can go ahead and leave your comments down there and click that subscribe button. If you made it through this super long video, you should subscribe. You know you want to. Go ahead, click the subscribe button, and also go ahead and hit that like button because it helps out my channel, and it also encourages me to bring more videos to you. So I will see you later, and be cool, people.